information is Mr. Know-It-All.
That'd be me. I'm Sean King. This is Your Mac Life. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this Wednesday evening. It is June 26th. Oh, that's the last Wednesday in June, which means you have to sign up for our Your Mac Life Friends of YML contest immediately in order to win some fabulous prizes. We'll hear more about those prizes a little later on in the show. We're going to be talking to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com about his first look at OS X Mavericks and his thoughts and impressions of the new operating system from Apple. And we'll be talking about clouds, not iCloud or virtual cloud or Amazon cloud, but real live up in the air clouds. A new app called Cloudspotting. Cloudspotter. And cloudspoterapp.com is the website. Cloudspotter is the app to search for in the iOS store and the iTunes store, but don't go buy it yet because I'm giving away some copies. You listen to the interview, pre-recorded early this afternoon. Listen to the interview, and you will be able to maybe win some prizes. I mean, win a copy of Cloudspotter.app. Cloudspotter app, yeah. First of all, new video. New video and new audio streams. We should not get any, not should. We will not get any advertisements in the new video stream. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. None of them. Because I'm paying for the video stream now. Cold hard cash, baby. Got a company that does this kind of video streaming. They're not a free company like Ustream. I pay them. So this is the way it's going to be. I give them money. They give us an ad-free video stream. I think that's fair. It works for me. I hope it works for you guys too. I hope there's no one out there who liked those ads, who liked having the show interrupted randomly by inconsequential, annoying ads in the middle of the show. If you enjoyed that, stop listening to this show right now, please. I'm begging you, don't. So there is as usual, yourmaclifeshow.com front page. You can also bookmark yourmaclifeshow.com / I'm going to say forward anymore, do you? /live. You can also find the audio-only stream there, if you so choose. And also, if you're in the IRC chat room, Sly has links to the direct video feed and direct audio feed, if you want to get that in a whole separate window all by itself. And one of the reasons, and by the way, a big, huge thanks to our good friend Monty, who's in the IRC chat room. Monty helped me out immensely in setting this stuff up and in configuring it and finding out all kinds of information for me. And hopefully, because of Monty's and mine testing we did earlier this afternoon, we will be able to do video and audio via FaceTime. Via Skype. If we can, for the first time in a long time, we used to do it many moons ago. First time in a long time, we will have our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at Loop Insight in all his bearded glory on video. I don't know if that's a good thing. I honestly don't know if having both Jim and myself, two smart, well-read, intelligent, not particularly good-looking guys on video. That's why I mentioned the audio-only feed. You might want to switch over to that. I'm just saying. In about 10 minutes, just switch the audio-only feed. Probably say, or get the kids out of the room. Something, anything. We, I don't know if you guys have been following. I don't know if our American friends know what's been going on here in the Calgary-Banff corridor. We had what can only be described as biblical amounts of rain last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The rain on Wednesday was so bad there were times when I couldn't see 50 feet in front of me on a motorcycle. That's not good. Oh, that's so bad. That's very, very, very bad. But the rain was so hard, so fast, so much of it, that it washed out the highway, the Trans-Canada Highway, two highways, Trans-Canada Highway and the 1A highway from Calgary to Banff. Literally, the road was gone in places, just completely taken out. Across 4 lanes of the Trans-Canada and 2 lanes of the 1A. Wiped it out. It's gone. Not there. People literally, if you lived in the Banff area or the Canmore area, you literally could not get out of those towns. The roads have been washed away. And the weird geography thing about Canada is because we're such a huge country, but with such a small population, we have limited access to places. There's only really 3 roads that go into Banff, there's really only viable one road to get from Calgary to Vancouver with any kind of speed. There's an alternate route by going up through Edmonton and over the top of the Rockies, basically. But the 1 hour drive from Calgary to Canmore is a 5 hour drive if you take that over Edmonton route. So it was a complete nightmare. And it's been a week. It was shut down last Thursday morning, and it is now just opened up as of 3 p.m. this afternoon. And even then, it's still very, very slow. There's still a lot of work to be done. And then the town of Canmore, there were houses destroyed. I mean, I think the first time in my life I've been actually involved or in an area where there was a true natural disaster. Lots of flooding in Calgary, especially the downtown area near the river. The downtown core of Calgary was completely flooded, shut down for days. University of Calgary just opened up again today. Lots of homes with, Maurice was telling me his Boy Scout troop went out and helped some folks in the cleanup of their basement. And one basement that they worked at had 8 feet of water in it. 8 feet of water. In other words, to the ceiling in their basement. There are pictures on the web of homes in Canmore washed away, decks and foundations gone. A lot of those folks are going to lose their homes. So it's a bad situation. It's been really great to see. It's typical of small towns everywhere. This same thing happens in small town America, small town Holland, small town Africa, doesn't matter. But it's great to see the community pulling together and people setting up places for folks to come sleep if they've been evacuated out of their house. The local radio station has been very, very helpful. There's only one radio station in Canmore, Banff, because of the mountains. They've been doing a great job. I've been listening to them almost constantly for the last 5-6 days. And they've been doing a great job in gathering people together. And hey, you have resources. These guys need resources. Help each other out. It was pretty cool. It was except for the natural disaster part, not being able to get to Canmore, and I couldn't go see the cute Italian girl. It was good to see the communities both here in Calgary and also in Canmore and Banff pulling together. So if you're in the area, if you're Canadian, you can donate to the disaster relief funds in various ways. The typical ways: Red Cross Canada. You can through your iPhone or your smartphone. If you have Shaw or TELUS or Rogers, they've all got ways set up that you can give $5 or $10 to the disaster relief funds for the area. So, yeah, as bad as it was great to see the people coming together. So I'm watching the IRC chat, and Oakland guy says, saw Momo the cat swim to safety. Yeah, Momo the cat is the one pissed off cat. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but there's I saw a picture of a guy whose truck was in the water. All you saw was the bed of the truck, and him swimming after his cat. And I had people say, oh, I would do the same thing for my cat. You know what? I wouldn't have put my cat in that situation. Why is the cat in your truck? And why wasn't the cat in some sort of carrier in your truck? And why were you going across rivers in your truck? You redneck. But glad to hear the cat's okay. Calgary Zoo was underwater too. They had one of the hippos almost escaped because the water level rose so high the hippo could get out of his pen. And the poor hippo, I guess, went left instead of going right and got stuck in a walkway. So they got the hippo back. But apparently there's a lot of stressed out, as you can probably understand, a lot of stressed out animals at the Calgary Zoo. Speaking of stressed out animals, the Calgary Stampede will go on as planned next week. I always cheer for the animals, like the bull in the bucking bull bucking. What do they call that? Bronco. What? I don't know. I'm not a cowboy. I don't know. But I always cheer for the bull to get the guy, not to kill him, to hurt him bad. Not to kill him. I'm not a big bull riding. I could be says bull riding. I'm not a fan of the Stampede. Everyone in Calgary is very excited about it. This is the big thing. This is the biggest rodeo in the world. It's the biggest Stampede in the world. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not just animal cruelty. I don't want to go say that far. Some of it is unnecessary, stressful for the animals. But it's not a lifestyle I've ever been interested, involved in, care about, anything else like that. So yeah, the Stampede's going to passing by with me showing zero interest in being involved in any Stampede-related activities. You guys will see me all night long playing with this new pop filter I've got. Let me know about the audio levels. if it sounds okay to you guys, because I haven't yet got the right placement of where this thing is comfortable for me and also being effective too. So, as always, want to hear what you guys think about, well, anything. Send me an email on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. Let me know what you think about the new video stream, about the new audio stream, what your thoughts are about what we'll talk about later in tonight. RSS Readers. Have you picked a new one yet? July 1st, Google is shutting down their very not particularly popular reader, which is kind of odd because everyone seems to jump on this reader bandwagon without realizing or thinking about, well, Google's dumping it for a reason because they can't make money on it. Because it's not particularly popular, according to Google. But we've now got at least 10 different options for RSS readers. So we'll talk a little bit about what those options are later in the show. And as I said, we'll also talk to in a pre-recorded interview, the gentleman who came up with the idea of the Cloudspotting app. Yeah, he's also a member, the founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. He's British and probably eccentric, but really interesting. Unfortunately, it's a pre-recorded interview because he is in the UK, so we couldn't do it live. And hopefully you'll enjoy the pre-recorded interview we did with him. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Jump over the Loop at loopinsight.com. This is Your Mac Life. I think you're there. Can you hear me? Okay, hang on a second. I don't know if this is going to work. Because, no, we're live now. By the way, Jim, just to let you know, folks. Don't sound so excited. Let's give this a try. There's Jim. Let me set
Should I put my headphones on?
Yeah, if nothing else to prevent the echo. Wow, that's unattractive. Oh dear. Yeah, this might not be such a good idea. Yeah, this is definitely a bad idea. Now, Jim, you can't see me, but you can hear me, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Because the audio, the video, Skype can't grab video and send it to you and the audience at the same time. So how you been?
Well, yeah, I've been good.
What the hell? Why is there an echo? Folks, is anyone else hearing Jim as an echo? I knew we should test this beforehand.
I don't hear an echo.
Nope. So no, it's just in my head.
Wow.
Voices in my head as usual. So you got when you went down to Cupertino for WWDC, they gave you a 13-inch. Did they give you a MacBook Pro or MacBook Air? They gave you both, didn't they? I know you well enough after all these years.
See, that's the problem with video. You could see me smiling. Damn it.
It's harder for you to lie. Okay, so we won't talk about that. I'm just curious because I'm wondering if you noticed, if you had one or the other, if there's any sort of appreciable difference in using OS 10 Mavericks on an Air versus a Pro.
I don't have it on the Air.
Okay, all right. So you don't know. Now, using it on the MacBook Pro that Apple gave you,
Mm-hmm.
is it noticeably slow? Because that's always my issue with an OS. Is it slower than the previous version? Now, I know you're not running it on your regular machine. You're solely using it on the MacBook Pro that Apple supplied. But have you noticed any difference?
But the machine I was using before that is exactly the same as this MacBook Pro.
Okay.
It was a MacBook Pro 13 with Mountain Lion. I haven't noticed any slowness at all.
No.
And since I posted that article, I did upgrade to the developer 2. But I did have a release that wasn't released to the public. And you could say, well, maybe they optimized that or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. Just because, the past day I've been using the newest release and it's about the same speed.
Now, just to be clear to the audience, this is not a special laptop that Apple gives only to journalists, that this is optimized in some way so that you guys will get a different, a better experience than the average person.
No, they gave me an updated build of the OS just because when it comes time for WWDC, they have a build that they're ready to show.
Yeah.
But they continue working on it.
Sure.
They may cut that build off so that it's stable and good, a couple weeks beforehand or a week beforehand or however long. But they continue to work on it, and then they gave me an updated build on this computer. Mm-hmm. But it's a regular MacBook Pro 13, so I get the same experience as what anybody else would have.
Now, I was interested, folks, talking to Jim Dalrymple about his first look OS 10 Mavericks article on loopinsight.com. I was interested to see that you weren't doing this just as a test for a couple of things. You're actually using this as your primary only machine with your usual workflow.
Yeah, and that's the only way I think that it's the only way I can do it. I mean, I could pick apart little things, but that doesn't really tell me anything. I mean, okay, so the feature works, but how does that fit into what you're doing? And that's what I always like to try and do is to go in and, okay, I'm going to use this as my only system. Mm-hmm. And, if it sucks, then it sucks. But it was very stable. And I think most people said that about the first one too. That it was pretty stable for an OS. The Mac OS seemed to be, the stable releases, and there's bugs and stuff in iOS, and that's what Mac OS used to be like. I still wouldn't recommend people download it and use it as their only OS. I did this because this is my job. That's what I do. But and Apple wouldn't recommend that either.
Yeah. The other thing I was very interested to read that you said, while this first look isn't about third-party apps, I did want to note that I have not come across a single app that would just flat out not work under Mavericks. We don't see that under iOS 7. We hear a lot of folks talking about how apps are just, many apps are just broken under iOS 7. Why do you think that is with Mavericks? Everything seems stable, but not with iOS 7.
Well, Mavericks has been around a long time. I don't know that they're actually changing the code base a lot. I mean, they probably are. I'm not a developer, so they probably are making a lot of changes behind the scenes. But I mean, this is an integration type thing. So, there's not as much going on there, I think, as what's going on in iOS 7.
Do you think that it's because Apple has been working on Mavericks more, that because OS 10 has been around longer? Do you think there's any reason for it?
I just think it's been around longer. Yeah. When did they release that? 2000? 2001?
Yeah.
So, it's been around for a long time. Now, in fairness, iOS has been around for a long time too, even before we knew it was available. Yeah. But, there's a lot of things that have changed in macOS 10 over the last decade. Mm-hmm. That, the code base is already cleaned up. Everything is where they want it to be. Now it's just a matter of going in and saying, okay, we want this to sync and we want, this new app and this stuff to work. Yeah. But with iOS, this looks like a pretty big release. So they're they're doing some big work behind the scenes.
Let's talk about some of the features that you seem to like. I was surprised at how much. Apparently, I'm geekier than I thought. How much I like the idea of Finder tabs.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange one, you know. I mean, when you look at something like Finder tabs, you think so.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you start using them, you know, I realized that as I was doing this and working, I realized that before I had like 6 windows open at once,
Yep.
you know, copying files all over the place. And I always go down and hit the Finder button in the tab,
Mm-hmm.
and that brings up all my windows.
Yep.
So I hit the Finder tab, and one window came up, and I kept hitting it. You know, like, come on, bring the rest of my windows up. I need to copy some files, and they were all in tabs in that
Mm-hmm.
one window. So you know, it's a lot cleaner than, you know, what it was in the past, and I can see how that would be useful. I mean, I don't know if I do it enough
Mm-hmm.
or what, but I always usually have mine sorted the same way too, in a list, date modified.
The funny thing is, we spent 20 years as Mac users moving windows around and sliding this one over a couple inches and sliding that one up and that kind of, and it was just so annoying. To be fair, this has been around on other systems for many, many years, and finally Apple's brought it to the Mac. You've been able, back in the days of OS 7, 8, and 9, you could hack this kind of thing in various kinds of ways. But I'm really looking forward, that might be the one thing I'm looking forward to in Mavericks, is playing around with Finder tabs.
Yeah, it's pretty slick, and the same shortcuts to add a tab to Safari work for Finder tabs.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody sent me a note on ADN, I believe, today, that said, "Oh, thanks to Mac power users, I use Total Finder." So they're using Finder tabs now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
through an app called Total Finder.
Yeah.
So it must be one of those utility type things. You know, that stuff is always around. So, you know, Total Finder is now out of business, and you know,
They've been Sherlocked.
I mean, Total Finder, I don't know the app. So Total Finder may have all kinds of nifty features in there that Apple isn't going to bring. And in fact, they'll be fine. But, yeah, it's an interesting feature for those that'll get a lot of use out of it.
Now, the exact opposite thought came to me when I was watching the WWDC demo, and I saw the labels, and I was like, "Who cares? Does anyone actually care about labels? Do you Jim? Where'd you go? Jim, you okay? You know you're on video, right?
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
make me self-conscious.
You're a lot less attractive than I imagined. The stop doing that. Gumming your own beard. So the feature, I thought personally it would be completely. Is this what you do when we don't have video? You just look for snacks in your beard?
Same thing. Except I'm usually sitting back. I'm sitting back like this.
Well, see. Now I noticed you were drinking water,
or vodka,
or a giant glass of vodka. For those folks who are watching the video, my friend Maurice brought me down a Big Rock Ale from Calgary. So at least I'm drinking. Yeah, if you're drinking vodka, you're gonna be drunk about 20 minutes.
No, a big glass of water tonight.
Good.
It was very, very, very hot here.
Oh, you're lucky. I wish.
Yesterday, it was just terrible, terrible hot. It was, I don't know, over 30 degrees yesterday.
That is hot for Nova Scotia.
Yeah. 30 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit?
80, I think 85, I think. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and the humidity was really high, so yeah.
Talk about labels. Labels is one of those features I thought was going to be completely useless and just a throw-in checkbox thing. Do you use labels? Do you think it's of any interest at all to the audience?
Oh, the tags?
Yeah.
Tags is a funny thing because I hate tags on the website. Everybody knows what a tag is. Because even if you have, a WordPress site, you have tags. There's tags everywhere. And more often than not, they just piss you off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you don't want to use them, and they're annoying, and it's something that once you start using, you feel you have to keep using, and it's just kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So this afternoon, I was doing up some invoices, and when the dialog box comes down, it gives you the normal save dialog, and where to put it, and then there's a spot for tags. So I typed in some tags, just what this invoice was. And it can be useful depending on what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you often, group a set of documents together, you're planning a trip and you have expense document in a spreadsheet, and you have a pages document that you wrote up for the proposal to go on this trip, and then you had some photos, and you had all kinds of different things, and you wanted to access all of that information at once in the Finder and see where your project was.
Yeah.
That would be a great use for it. Me, I tend to use one document at a time. It's like I researched a story last year that I need some information out of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just hit Spotlight search, do a search for a phrase or something I know is in that document,
Yeah.
and it pops right up, and I'm on my way. So I'm not sure how much Finder tags would be useful to me. I don't know if I'll use it or not. I may.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, one of those features for those folks who are really anal about doing this kind of stuff, who are a lot more organized than say you and I are. Because to me, watching the WWDC demo was like, yeah, don't care. What else did you? You are really easily distracted, aren't you? What else did you notice in Mavericks and your playing around with it, your testing of it? You know what? I think that might be an interesting testament to Mavericks, is that there is nothing that jumps out at you, good or bad.
No, that's not true. Okay. I'm just messing around with you. The thing that there's a couple of things that I really like, and often with me, and I don't know if it's like this with you or not, but I tend to like some of the smaller things that other people may just look at and say, well, that's not really a big thing. Yeah. In Mountain Lion, it was Notification Center. I loved it. I loved it because every time you heard a ping, I would say, oh, what was that? And you would go to the mailbox and say, whoa, what was that?
Yep.
Oh, it was nothing. Okay, I'll go back to work. Ping, what was that? And with Notification Center, these things just kind of blip up in the corner, and I'm writing away, and I look up and I see, oh, it's just, there's Tim Cook again. Yeah. And and you just keep going. You don't lose your train of thought. And I'm getting old. If I lose my train of thought, it could take me days to get that thought back.
That sucker's derailed.
And I don't get many good thoughts. So when I do, I have to make sure that I get it down and write it down. Now, if a message with Notification Center, if a message pops up and I see, a message from Sean and it's urgent, okay, I got to do something about that. I can actually go up into the Notification Center, and when you click on it, you get a reply tab or a reply button. And I can reply to you right in the notification and then say, like, okay, call me. Yeah. And hit send. And it's gone.
Now, one of the things that drives me nuts about notifications right now is, you can't see me. I'll show the audience. I'm looking at my laptop right now. But if a notification window pops up, it's over on my cinema display, which is 27 inches away. I have to literally physically turn and look in the upper corner over there. Can you change where notifications should back up? Back up!
First world problems.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
I mean, I'm working on a 13-inch display here. Yeah. Can you change? Oh, I don't have that machine here.
Because for me, what I want to be able to do is move notifications, the actual notifications, closer to the center of my viewing window.
I don't think you can. I had to use this my other MacBook Pro because Skype doesn't work or something on the new one. I heard. I never even tried it. I guess I should have tried it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to screw up your show, so I just thought I'd grab my other one.
I appreciate that.
So I don't think that there's a way to physically change that where it goes. But the fact that you can now, you don't have to leave what you're doing. I could keep typing, see that message from you, just go up, click, okay, call me, send, and then keep typing again. Even the fact that I have to address that message or that iChat or whatever it is, I still it's not taking me away from my work. So I really like that. I think that's a great feature.
Brian Monroe in the RC chat room says, asking about the battery menu thing that shows battery usage per app. Have you noticed that making any difference?
Honestly, I never even looked at it.
No. Okay.
One thing that I did notice, I should have brought that computer down, but I took it back upstairs. One thing that I did notice is, and I should have put a screenshot in the story, really. Even on the loop, sometimes I have those videos, the YouTube videos on the site. That new feature that the app, I forget what it's called, where it stops resources from being used.
Yeah.
That shows up and stops the YouTube, the Flash stuff or HTML or whatever it is that's being used, stops that from using resources when your website is up.
It's pretty cool.
So, and then it says if you want to activate this plugin, just click.
Yeah.
So you click, and then the video is there, and then you click to play it. So it's an extra click, but in the meantime, it's not using resources. So that was pretty cool.
Folks, you can read more about Jim's OS X experience over at Loop at loopinsight.com. He's an article called OS X First Look Mavericks or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you using? Are you an RSS guy, Jim?
I love RSS.
Oh, God, so do I. What are you going to do on July 1st when Google craps out on us?
Well, yeah.
You're more fun in the video than I am.
What am I going to do?
RSS.
I don't know. I saw that Dig today, is making progress. That's good news. The good thing about what Google did is that it opened up a lot of the space. And I think I'm paying for a couple of services. Feedbin, I know I'm paying for. I'm not sure if I paid for Feed Wrangler yet or not. But, there's a couple of services out there, good services. Reader is going to support a number of them by all reports. So that's good news to have Reader supporting that on all the devices. We'll wait and see what NetNewsWire is going to do. Daniel and the guys released a beta yesterday. So that's great news. So I don't think it's dead, but people have to know where to go.
One of the problems I'm going to have is that I need to. I do my RSS reading in two different places. One on the iPad, one on the desktop. And the iPad one is when I'm at a coffee shop or I'm just. Hey, I think this whole video thing is a bad idea. At a coffee shop on the iPad, I use RSS in a different way than I do when I'm at my desktop. I think that's the problem I'm having.
Why?
Is trying to find. Sorry?
Why?
Because on the desktop, I can grab stories right then and there and post them to the Loop, post them to Sulia, post them to Twitter. On my iPad, I'm just going to read them and then save them for later. Because I find it too much of a pain in the butt to post to the Loop from the iPad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's because you don't have the right app.
Exactly. And I don't want to. If I'm at a coffee shop, I ain't working for you. All right? No. I'm just saying it right now.
But see, I tend to work now, and I don't know if this came out of necessity or not, but I tend to work the same way in RSS on my desktop as I do on my mobile
device
now. Yeah, I always save for later. You know, if there's something that I want to read, save for later. And then I keep going and keep looking and, you know, oh, here's something good. Take a little read of it. And yeah, okay, this is something I'll take a look at later, save for later. And that's how I do it. So usually by the time I get to where I want to post, I'm usually home anyway. Now I have probably the best app to post to WordPress or to blogs, Poster, that was just bought by WordPress, so they'll probably screw it up.
Exactly.
But it is just a fantastic app. So
my problem is I like the way Feedly presents information on the iPad, but on the iPad 1 it crashes constantly. It's really, really annoying on the iPad 1. Other folks have told me Feedly works just fine for them on the iPad, but they're all using upgraded iPads. I think that's the issue. So what I've been just got a recommendation from Dan Frakes at Macworld, Mr. Reader. Is I just bought today and have been playing around with it. But I have yet to find something that's as clean and fast and simple to use as Google Reader in my browser. I still like the way Google Reader in the browser because I'm not a pictures guy. I don't want to see the graphics associated with the story. I just want to see the text of the story. Just show me text so I can get through it as fast. I've got over 1,000 different feeds in my RSS reader, and I need to be able to get through them as quickly as possible. When I'm at home on the desktop and working, I need to get through them really fast. But I'm at the coffee shop on the iPad, I just want entertainment, so I don't mind pictures. So that's my problem. I need basically 2 different RSS readers that will then sync with each other in some way, shape, or form. I'm not constantly reading the same stories back and forth.
You're like a developer's nightmare.
Oh, I really am. I have in the last 2 weeks, last week anyway, because I've been trapped here in Calgary, downloading and trying out and testing on every single one I can find, and most of them can't fit, granted, my very specific needs for it. So I'm asking other people what they're using for RSS readers now.
Well, I think, if you look at size, and I think that's what this is going to come down to, Dig will probably take the lead.
You think, yeah?
I think. I mean, just by the sheer size of Dig and BetaWorks, they're going to be able to get the word out there. And didn't Yahoo say that or AOL's coming out with one? Who knows what that'll be like.
But isn't this interesting? This whole RSS thing has exploded since Google said they can't make money on it. And yet now at least 10 different companies and 10 different apps have jumped up and said, "Oh, we're going to try. We'll try." But RSS is supposed to be dead. In the era of Twitter, RSS is supposed to be dead.
Yeah, I love RSS. Do
you think RSS is just for hardcore fanatical news information gatherers? It's not for the average person?
Well, I think it could be for the average person, but it's interesting because like Monique doesn't use RSS, but she doesn't have the wide range of interest in sites that I do. I don't have the wide range of sites that you do. So my RSS I think is down now to under 200. It's probably well under 200 now. Because I cut a lot out because there's so much duplication and, just so much crap that for a while I've been taking them out. So, you have a lot in there and there's no way that you could keep up on the information of 1,000 sites. No way.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I had to click on those URLs every day, it would drive yourself insane.
Yeah. Now I would even have trouble doing 200 more than once a day.
Yeah.
And then you end up missing stuff, and that's why I like it. I mean, I don't post everything that I find, but some of the stories are interesting, and you go to Laughing Squid and some of those things every once in a while, and you see some funny stuff. So that's good. It's good. It's good to have.
It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out from the point of view of who's going to charge what for what. Yeah. Because it was free for Google, one of the reasons why I liked it, but it was also very clean and very simple. And I think other folks who are trying to jump in on this, Flipboard try to jump in on this whole idea, and it doesn't work for hardcore RSS. If for the average user, Flipboard can be great for like Monique who wants to keep up on one or two things.
Yeah.
But Flipboard, it was as of no use to me whatsoever when it comes to hardcore RSS.
Me neither. I don't understand, the whole magazine thing and stuff like that. That's just not what I'm looking for. I just want something quick and easy that I can look and see what's new and move on.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't see why RSS wouldn't be good for every user, because we've all got a lot of stuff to do.
Yep.
So if you want to go see what's new and, here's something on the loop, yes, I'll click through on that, or no, I won't. But at least you know what's new.
Yeah. I think one of the issues is that most average users don't understand what RSS is and can do for you.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that's because the people I've shown RSS feeds to, my roommate in Portland showed her, because I saw her on the couch one day going through all these websites. And I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm just checking up on my doctor stuff. She's got 15 or 20 doctor websites that she checks for new information or new blog posts or whatever it might be. And so I said, well, do you know what RSS is? She says, no. So I took her to a couple of the pages and showed her that little RSS graphic and showed her how to set it up. And she was just blown away. Yeah. Because rather than spending a half hour, 45 minutes every night sitting on the couch going through all these websites, and some of them weren't being updated but every couple of days or weeks, now she could quickly look through her RSS feed and get all the medical stuff and know there's only 20 stories. She didn't have to go to the website. Maybe only 2 of the stories were of any real value to her, and inside 10 minutes she was done with her website reading stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the problem, is that no one, this is the kind of thing that Max Story, Federico or Renee should get on, because those seem to be the kind of guys who are really good at explaining these kinds of things to normal people.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they could do an in-depth article on why RSS is important. No, you're right.
Exactly. That's it. We're going to let you go, folks. Been talking to Jim Downpour from The Loop. This has been our first video feed with Jim. Except for your antics, I think it worked out quite well. How about you?
Yeah, well, you'll have to let me know if we're doing it again.
That's right, exactly. You'll find out next week.
I will warn you, I'm not always so pretty
this is true.
This time of night. So.
I was worried about this much ugly on one screen.
I know.
I got both of us up on screen now. So.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it really is. I feel bad for the audience. Folks, Jim also has his own podcast called Amplified, available on the iTunes store. You can check it out. Dan and Jim discuss Jim's review of OSM Mavericks, just like we did now, but probably more intelligently and more in-depth. Jim, thanks so much for joining me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.
See ya. Well, that was fun. Bloop, bloop. All right, thanks very much. That was fun. That was better than I expected, actually. Hang on a second. Let me change my headset. Including Jim's antics, which they were quite enjoyable. Thank you, Jim. You made that a lot of fun. Let us know if you guys like that. If that's the video you guys want to see. If you want to see more video. Now that Monty, and it's all thanks to Monty. Monty did this for me. He won't take credit for it, but he helped me set this up. Found me the application that will do that stuff. So thank you very much, Monty. Appreciate it, buddy. Your next beer when you're in my country is on me. Not in my country. You got to be in the same town. I can't send you beer when you're in Toronto. That's not really Canada anyway. So next up, we've got a pre-recorded interview with, why can't I remember this guy's name? Hang on. Let me find his name. Gavin Preeter Pinney. Sorry, Gavin, I screwed your name up. He is the founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. I saw the press release for this app last week and thought, I love looking at clouds. I remember one of my fondest memories of being on my dad's farm in Nova Scotia was me and my little brother lying out in the field, me and my brother David, lying in a field, watching the swallows fly all over us and looking at the clouds. And we weren't picking out bunnies or anything else like that. We were just looking at the clouds. And I still do that. As I said, as you'll hear me say in the interview, I was out riding the motorcycle yesterday and just stopped randomly. And I stopped in a place where there was no sound. Literally, there was no sound. I can't remember the last time I was in a place where I literally could not hear any man-made sounds. There were crickets and there was a bird or two. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw the picture I posted. There was no sound. It was so weird. It was so cool. And I just sat on the bike for about 10 minutes, just relax, stretching my legs, having a drink, and looking at the clouds. So check out this interview from Gavin, the founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. The website is cloudspoterapp.com, and tune in for towards the end of the interview when you'll find out how you can win a copy of Cloud Spotter app. So here is the interview I did this afternoon with Gavin Preter Pinney. I'm never going to get the guy's name right. That's not right. That's not right. I pushed the wrong button. Where is it? Here it is. Here we go. Welcome, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Sean King. Joining the phone now, all the way from London, England, I believe, Gavin Preter Pinney. Gavin, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I am good. Are you, in fact, in London, or am I just assuming that because of the accent?
No, because of my Cockney accent. No,
Exactly.
Actually, I'm down in Somerset, which is in the southwest of England. Sometimes I'm in London. It's not a bad mistake to have made.
I hate making it because my stepfather was from Manchester, and he gave me all the dirt on all that stuff about the UK. So I apologize if I've insulted you in any way, shape, or form.
No problem.
Right off the top. Now, we're going to talk about the clouds. Now, some folks will think we're talking about the virtual clouds of iCloud and things like that, but we're not. We're talking about actual, real-life, real clouds. And believe it or not, Gavin's written books about clouds. He's got a book called the Cloud Spotter's Guide and the Cloud Collector's Handbook, and he's got an app in the iTunes App Store called Cloud Spotting. Now, Gavin, first of all, explain to me, why are you so interested in clouds?
Well, I think clouds get a bad press. People complain about them a lot, and I think it's unfair. I mean, we're so used to thinking of the clouds as just the only time we notice them is when they get in the way of the sun. People kind of notice them as obstructions, and I think that's a shame because when you stop to think about it, the clouds are, and the sky, they're one of nature's most evocative, most diverse, most poetic aspects, and they're not something to complain about. They're something to appreciate.
It's really a really interesting way of putting it that, a lot of us only think about them when they're blocking our sunshine. It's one of the things that I think as children we first start using our imagination with. We've all done that. We've laid in a grass field somewhere and just stared up at the clouds and let your mind wander, not just with shapes, but it's sort of almost like a meditation kind of thing. I was telling you earlier, I still do it. Yesterday I was out riding my motorcycle, and I pulled off on the side of the road to get a bit of a beverage, and there was no man-made sounds around me. I was so far out in the Canadian wilderness, which is not too far, that I just stopped and watched the clouds go by. And they weren't storm clouds. They weren't portents of terrible weather. They were just clouds. And I just stood there watching them. I don't know if I was looking for bunnies or things like that, but it is a very peaceful, meditative thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, the good thing is that it's not like a big deal sort of meditation. I mean, it's just a moment of everyday meditation. When you just stop what you're doing, you allow your attention to lift up to what's going on in the sky, and you just spend a few minutes with your head in the clouds. Yeah. Just letting your imagination drift along in the breeze I think it's good for you. I think it's good for the way you feel, and I think it's good for allowing you to kind of put a bit of distance between yourself and your everyday, daily concerns down here on the ground. They are, as you say, a great stimulus for the imagination, and it's one reason why at a certain age, maybe 5, 6, children suddenly become kind of engaged with the clouds and they become aware of them because they invite our imaginations to kind of play in a way. It's hard if you get into the right frame of mind of kind of relaxing, of going with the flow. It's hard to look up at the clouds, assuming they're the right types. Cumulus clouds are a good example. If you're looking up at them, it's hard not to kind of find shapes. And I think they're like, they're like nature's version of those ink blot images, that shrinks used to show their patients in the 1960s. And I'm sure that if you pay attention to the shapes you see in the clouds, you'll save money on psychoanalysis bills.
The app is available in the App Store. It's called Cloud Spotter. Let's talk about clouds themselves. Not many of us know that different kinds and shapes and sizes of clouds have different kinds and names and conditions under which they are prevalent. Isn't that true? Is it? You said cumulus. I think that's the only. Those are the white fluffy clouds that most of us think of when we think of clouds, right? Cumulus clouds.
Those are the ones that form on a sunny day, cumulus clouds. They're known as the fair weather cloud. And in a way, they feel like the generic one. Close your eyes, think of a cloud. It's probably a cumulus, one of these puffy cotton wool clouds that will come to mind. But that's only one of the many, many types of clouds. And, of course, each cloud is unique. Each one is its own type. But as humans, we like to put things into groups. We like to put them into pigeonholes. And clouds do share characteristics. There are the system that we use now for classifying clouds has 10 basic types, 10 main groups. Cumulus is one of them. The cumulonimbus cloud, which is the huge storm cloud that spreads out like an anvil at the top, like mushrooms, like nature's mushroom clouds, that's another. Or the cirrus clouds, which are the high, wispy ice crystal clouds, like translucent brushstrokes across the sky. Those are named after the Latin for a lock of hair, cirrus. So these are each sort of examples of the 10 main types. And then there are more subdivisions. There are species. So those are called genera. Each one of those is a genus. And then there are species, which are more subdivisions. And then there are varieties. So there's a whole host and range of different cloud formations. Once you become familiar with them, you start looking out for them. They're rather fun to kind of try and spot.
You say on the website cloudspoterapp.com, there are 40 uniquely different cloud species. I bet most of us didn't even realize there was that many different kinds of clouds out there.
Well, that's only the number that we've got in the app. In fact, we might be adding some more in future updates. There are 40 examples that we've currently got there. The 40 most distinctive and most common, and well, actually they're not all common, but the most recognizable, the easiest to spot. But there are also other ones which are a little bit more academic when it comes to making the kind of distinctions. Those, and then also there are many optical effects that are caused as the sunlight passes through clouds. I mean, we're used to the sunlight reflecting off a sheet of rain and that causing a rainbow. But of course there are actually many other optical effects, arcs of colored light like that, and spots of light and halos that are caused as the sunlight passes through layers of ice crystals, high clouds. And so there are 10 of those optical effects that you can spot with the app as well.
Now, this may be a stupid question, and that's okay because I'm used to asking stupid questions. Are there kinds of clouds that are only able to be seen in particular places in the world? In other words, are there European clouds versus North American clouds versus Asian clouds? Or are clouds common through the entire planet?
They are essentially the same clouds can be seen all around the world. I mean, there are a couple of exceptions. The cumulus clouds that I talked about, that we talked about before, which are the fair weather clouds, the ones that form on a sunny day, you don't tend to see those at the poles, the North or the South Pole, because they form on thermals as the sunlight heats the ground and it causes a thermal of air rising off the ground. You don't get enough direct sunlight onto the ground to really cause many thermals up on the poles, so you don't tend to see those. But generally speaking, that sort of thing aside, generally speaking, it's the same cloud formations can be seen all over the world. The only difference tends to be in how dramatic or dominant a particular cloud form might be in the sky, and some parts of the world are particularly good, say, for a certain type of cloud. I mean, I'm talking, but for instance, of if you're in the region of mountains, that tends to be an area where you're more likely to see these clouds known as lenticularis clouds. They're named after the Latin for a lentil, and they look rather like UFOs or flying saucers. Sure. They tend to form in certain conditions where there's raised ground and the wind has to rise to pass over the mountain or a large hill, and downwind of it you get this lenticularis cloud forming. So some areas might be good for that. You see particularly good ones around Mount Rainier in Washington, or you see good lenticularis clouds around New Zealand, where you get moist winds coming over the mountains. So, but the fact of the matter is, if you pay attention to the sky and you look up on a regular basis, you will be able to see all the clouds that are featured in the Cloudspotter app. They are even the ones that seem very exotic, and you look at them and you go, my word, that, for instance, the Kelvin Helmholtz wave cloud, which looks like, I know it's not got a very snappy name, it could do with a rebrand, but looks like a series of breaking waves, one after the other. It's a fleeting formation, only around for a minute or two, well, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and you go, God, that's dramatic when you see the photos. Well, the reference photos that we've used in the app to educate people in the different forms are particularly dramatic examples where that one cloud dominates. And it's true that it's not very common to see a sky when it's dominated in such a way by one cloud form. But if you pay attention to the sky, if you take a little bit of time to stop and notice what's going on above, you will see these exotic clouds, and you'll see them in the everyday stuff around you. You don't have to go anywhere special. You just see them from your backyard. Your backyard is the best place to go cloud spotting, because it's all about being in a frame of mind, and it's all about stopping your daily routine, whatever you're up to, when you see something interesting. It's not about rushing off somewhere on the other side of the world to try and find something that's not around you. It's a frame of mind.
Correct a misperception that I probably have. Is fog a low-lying cloud?
Yes, it is. Yeah, there's no difference between. Yeah, there's no difference between fog and clouds that are off the ground. I mean, clouds are made of particles of water, and the low clouds tend to be made of droplets of water, and the high clouds tend to be made of ice crystals, so solid water. The mid-level clouds tend to be one or the other, or a mixture of the two. But in the case of fog, it's just a layer of cloud. We'd call it stratus if it was... ways that the different clouds can form, and there are a few ways that fog can form. But in terms of what it is, droplets suspended in the air that you can see, then there's no difference between that and the other clouds, no.
I'm talking to Gavin Prater-Pinney. He is a author of the Cloudspotter's Guide and the Cloud Collector's Handbook. He's also an award-winning writer, a winner of the Royal Society Winton Prize for science books, and founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. The website and the Twitter account is cloudspoterapp.com. Let's talk about the app itself now. It's available on the iTunes Store, available for the iPhone. Give the audience a sense of what they do when they buy and download the app.
So when you get the app, the very first thing you see actually is an animation that we've done specifically for the app, which gives you in a minute and a half like an overview of clouds. The world of clouds, it's called. And I've actually recorded the voiceover a little bit like one of those 1950s government information films.
It was very funny too, by the way.
Was it? Oh, good. You're laughing with me, not at me, though, right?
Oh, exactly.
and so once you've got past that, the idea is that this it's like a game, all right? And it's a sort of spotting game. So when you're out and about and you have your phone with you and you see an interesting cloud formation above, you take a picture of it with the Cloudspotter app, and you have to say, when you take the photo, what you think the cloud is, what type of cloud it is. So, of course, the app gives you lots of information in order to try and get that right. There's a cloud library, which is a reference section, which shows you beautiful reference images, many of them sent in by members of the Cloud Appreciation Society, of this particular type of cloud, as well as a description and so on. Or otherwise, you could answer some questions about the cloud. You could use this cloud identifier, and it says, is it made of clumps, or is it a layer? Does it have gaps between them? So, you answer some questions like that, and then it gives you an idea of what cloud you might be looking at. So you make your choice. You say, I think it's a cumulus cloud, and then you press the upload button, and then you wait. You basically wait to hear whether you've got it right or not. And then our crack team of cloud experts is at work in the background.
Don't lie. It's 3 guys in a pub. Don't lie.
It's actually 10 guys in a pub.
10 guys in a pub. Okay, even
but
better.
Yeah, effectively, you're right, yeah. And they look, so they review the clouds that come in every now and then. We check in and have a little look at what's come in, and we say whether we think we've got it right or not, whether we think the user, the cloud spotter, has got it right or not. So if it comes back to you as verified, you got it right, then you get your stars. You get points for them. You get little kind of stars for getting that cloud right. The common clouds get fewer stars. The rarer clouds get more. And then you can get achievement badges as you've collected various combinations of clouds. And then you can just see how you compare to the ranking of other cloud spotters around the world. You can also see in the cloud stream verified photos that other people have taken in other parts of the world and in your area.
It's a very interesting idea. I was using it yesterday while I was out and about taking pictures of everything, and then I realized, CloudSpotter, I have to try this out. So I'm waiting to see whether or not I've got my clouds correct. But it's an interesting idea. Do you see this as a game for kids, as a real science tool, as something for adults who are a little woolly-headed? Give us an idea who the target audience for the CloudSpotter app is.
I think it's really it has a potential for kids, certainly, and but we haven't kind of dumbed it down in terms of the descriptions. I mean, there's humor in the descriptions of the different cloud types, but I haven't tried to sort of make it so that it's just aimed at kids, and so it certainly, I think, could cross over to both. Really, it is. We think it's an interesting idea having real human beings in the background, because most of these types of interactions you have with apps, they tend to be, you got the app and then it's all automatic from then on. Yeah. We think of kind of Spotify kind of automatically, it's amazing that it can get a song and tell you what it is, because of course, it's a mathematical comparison of sounds, isn't it? And it's not the case with clouds. There's a lot of judgment involved. And just excuse the pun, but it's, often a grey area, the distinction between one cloud and the other. So you need human judgment in there. And I think it's an interesting idea, having an app where you're doing this spotting, you're making judgments, you're uploading your image, and when it comes back, someone has looked at it and, used their expertise to tell you whether you've got it right or not. It's a learning experience. I mean, in some ways, you wish the person would send you back and say, no, it's not that cloud. In fact, it's this one. But that's kind of part of the game. You have to find it out for yourself. You have to work out by looking at the clouds that other people have had verified and got right, by looking at the reference images, by reading the descriptions, by following the kind of cloud identifier questions. You work out for yourself. As you pay attention to your surroundings, you kind of get more experience, and hopefully you get a better understanding of your surroundings, and you get a better understanding and appreciation of the everyday stuff around you. It's not the kind of, exotic stuff. It's the stuff that's there. These clouds are there every day, the whole time. They're so omnipresent. They're so commonplace that we've become blind to them. So really, in my mind, a really important part of this app is to get people to think again and look again at the commonplace everyday stuff around them.
I agree. You also noticed on your website, again, folks, we're talking to Gavin Prater-Penny from the cloudspoterapp.com is the website. Cloudspotter app is the app to look for on the iTunes store. You guys are collaborating with NASA. That's why I was asking about how much science was in this, because I saw in the press release that NASA is using your data. Give the audience a sense of what that's all about.
Well, this is something that came. It wasn't like the motivation behind doing the app. It wasn't something that we sort of were thinking about at the start. Initially, we just wanted to do a fun app that people would enjoy. It was like a game that would help them learn about clouds. Mm-hmm. But then late on in the day, I thought, well, we would be building up this database of cloud observations from all around the world, and of course, when you take a picture with your phone, if you've enabled the geotagging, if you enabled the app to use your location, then all the photos are geotagged. And it occurred to me that that's quite a kind of useful resource we have building up here of photographs of people from around, of clouds from around the world that are all geotagged with a location and a time. And NASA had got in contact with the Cloud Appreciation Society a few months back, talking about how they were looking for cloud observations that they could use to calibrate their cloud observing satellite. All right, it sounds like a crazy idea, but they've got this satellite equipment called Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, and it is observing the clouds from above and photographing the clouds from above and making judgments about the type of cloud that's there and measuring what effect that cloud's having on the ground temperatures. And this is a crucial thing for us to understand. The role that clouds play in our climate is something that actually you think we would understand, but it's really a very complex and less than well understood role of clouds in determining ground temperatures. The reason is the low clouds, the ones like those cumulus that I talked about, which are the ones that form on a sunny day, or layers of low cloud, they tend to reflect more of the sunlight away than they trap the Earth's heat in. Whereas the high clouds, like those cirrus that are named after the lock of hair, like brush strokes across the sky, those tend to let more sunlight through and they trap the Earth's heat in. So one has a cooling effect, the low ones, they have a sort of general overall cooling effect. The high ones have a general overall sort of trapping of heat in effect. So which clouds are going to become more prevalent as global temperatures seem to be changing? If this increases, if this change in global average temperatures continues, what's going to happen to the clouds? Will there be more of them? Will there be fewer of them? We don't know. Will there be more low clouds or more high clouds? We don't know. And so this understanding of the role of clouds in our changing and developing climate is crucial. Climate is crucial if we're going to have any chance of forming a realistic model and a realistic prediction about what temperatures are going to be like in, say, 50 years' time. So by helping NASA calibrate their satellite, they can look at the clouds from above with the satellite, and if they can compare this to anonymous data from below that people have taken when they photographed clouds using this app, then NASA can twiddle the knobs and improve the satellite's ability to make judgments about the clouds. You know, as it passes over, if they know that there were these observations which they draw from the database, they know these observations from the below. When the satellite was above, if it makes the right judgment, they can compare that to the observations from below, and they know, that they've got their measurements right. It's a really crucial piece in the jigsaw puzzle of trying to understand our changing climate. And it's one that, by playing the game, by enjoying this just fun, carefree activity of cloud spotting using this Cloud Spotter app, you're actually kind of unwittingly or without any extra effort, adding to our understanding of clouds and their role in climate.
Now, you said anonymously. There's no tracking of, Sean King took this picture in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and NASA now knows. Not that I would care if NASA knew, but
exactly.
No, it's
all. No, that's right. So it's all NASA can just log in and get the anonymous data. There's no other information. In fact, when you sign up to use Cloudspotting, you come up with a username and you have an email address in case you lose your login details. But we don't have your real name or anything like that anyway. But NASA, as far as they're concerned, they just get the location, the time, and the verified cloud type, and they can have reference of the image if they want to double check on the cloud type. So there's no kind of linking with actual real people.
Good. The website is cloudspoterapp.com. The app is CloudSpotter in the iTunes store. It's available only for the iPhone. Will there ever be a version for the iPad, or do you guys don't think there's any real market for the iPad and cloud spotting?
Yeah, no, totally. We would like to do that. We'd love to have it optimized for the iPad. As you well know, you can use it on the iPad, but it's not using the full iPad screen. And there's, that's really what we would love to do, because the images, your images will look obviously even better once you have them up on the iPad screen. So that's something we are looking at next. I mean, people have, we had lots of people kind of freaking out saying, why isn't it on Android? Why are you doing it on iPhone? What about Windows? And you can't, when you're a small organization like us, you have to do it one step at a time. It costs money. It's hard work, as you well know, kind of creating an app. So we're doing it one step at a time, and as one does okay, we'll then roll it on to the next one. But iPad is something we'd love to move on to next.
What's the price of the app in the iPhone store, in the iTunes store?
So it's $2.99, £1.99 in the UK, and in the App Store, and it's available now.
I'm giving away, Gavin doesn't know this, I'm just announcing this now. I'm giving away 5 copies of the app to lucky listeners who send me a picture of a cloud. Any cloud. I won't even know what it is. Just any cloud. To Sean at yourmaclifeshow.com. Now, they got to be American listeners, because I can't, the iTunes store doesn't let you send out free rewards or redeem coupons to non-Americans from my iTunes account. But for the first 5 people who send me a picture of a cloud, any cloud, on next week's show, I'm going to award 5 copies of the CloudSpotter app. That's how much I like this app. I'm spending my own money, Gavin, to give away your product. What am I, stupid?
That's great. I really appreciate it. Well, let's hope you get some good photos coming in. Do they have to be unusual clouds, or do they have to look like something? Or it just has to be a nice cloud?
Good point. Let's make it the first 5 nice cloud, and I'll pick which nice clouds I like. Just 5 nice cloud pictures. On next week's show, I'll award 5 copies of the CloudSpotter app. Again, go to CloudSpotter. Don't forget the other website Gavin's got too. The where am I going to get it? The Cloud Appreciation Society.org. It's explain to the audience what the Cloud Appreciation Society is and how it's different from the CloudSpotterapp.com site.
So CloudSpotterApp.com is really just about this app in particular, but the app comes out of the Cloud Appreciation Society, which now has 32,500 members in almost 100 countries around the world. We've been running it, and people are going to laugh when they hear the Cloud Appreciation Society, aren't they? I mean, you're laughing yourself. Yeah. And it is a sort of funny idea, right? It's a sort of crazy idea, but in a way it's so crazy that it makes sense, which is that sometimes we need to be reminded that the stuff around us, which we've become blind to, the stuff that's so commonplace, so everyday that we don't notice anymore, is in fact sometimes the stuff we most need to pay attention to, we most need to notice, we most need to appreciate. So the society is really, essentially, is to remind people that about clouds.
I absolutely agree. Folks, I've been talking to Gavin Prater-Pinney. He's a cloud expert, best-selling author of The Cloud Spotter's Guide and The Cloud Collector's Handbook, winner of the Royal Society Winton Prize for Science Books, and founder of the Cloud Appreciation Society. Again, the app is CloudSpotter. CloudSpotterApp.com is the website, and it's available now for download on the iTunes Store. Gavin, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Sean, thanks very much for featuring it. It's been great speaking to you.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview I did with Gavin. It was a lot of fun. The app it's a fun app. It's a pay app. You got to fork out $3 for it, but if you have a kid, this will be a lot of fun. If you have a kid who's interested in science, this will be a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun just wandering around, and I'm sort of, rather than just randomly looking at clouds now, I'm sort of saying, is that one of the clouds that he wants on? Can I win stars on that cloud? I should take a picture of that cloud. So it may enter a competitive nature of cloud spotting, but it's fun. Check it out. CloudspotterApp.com is the website. I want to say thanks very much to Gavin and Nikki for setting that up. Appreciate it for you. Thanks to you, Nikki, for setting that up. Got a email from Doug Pasnak, who's up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He says, this is what I had to drive through to leave my shop yesterday. Now, if you folks watching the video, in the left-hand side of that picture, that's the rear view, the right side mirror of his vehicle. Doug, what are you driving through that, and why are you driving through that high of water, man? That's insane. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff we've been dealing with here. Get emails from you guys. As always, love getting emails from you on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. I got an email from Robert Scott. It says, I saw the trailer for the Steve Jobs biopic. It looks like, under a good film director, Ashton Kutcher pulls off a pretty decent Steve Jobs. From the trailer, it looks like this captures the essence of Jobs. Just the trailer alone covers so much of Steve's history that I followed and lived through since the early 80s. Watching the trailer made me feel like a Mac fanboy back in the 90s all over again. Robert Scott in Independence, Kentucky. Yeah, I see your point, Robert. I don't necessarily think I still don't think it's going to be a good movie. It's been very poorly reviewed when it was at Sundance. Trailers always make the movie, they should make the movie look good. So I'm not giving it any credence for that. I will agree that Kutcher does do a good job in the trailer. Can he carry it for 90 minutes? We don't know. We haven't seen the film. But the trailer did look interesting. If I didn't know anything about what was going on behind the scenes, if I didn't know who Kutcher was, or I didn't know about the history behind all this stuff, maybe I'd think better about the movie. I'm not going to, if it shows up in theaters around me, I'm not going to go pay money to go see it. I'll wait till it shows up on Netflix or some other place to go see it. If only because I know the story. I know as much as anybody who is on the outside looking in about what actually went on in the events that the story is talking about. And I know that the movie is going to be a huge dramatization of those events. And therefore, it doesn't hold a lot of interest to me. Some other folks maybe. And like I said, Kutcher does seem to do a good job in the trailer, but we'll have to wait and see for the actual movie. Monty wants me to bump my mic up level. Thank you guys very much, as always, for letting me know if my mic's too low. I don't have a audio guy here, so I need your guys' help. And because of the pop filter, I'm sitting a little further away from the microphone than usual. So, Monty, let me know if those audio levels are good. I'm going to make sure I can get that right. So, yeah, Robert, I agree with you for the most part. Also got an email from, where'd it go? I had it this morning. Don Beck says, by the way, a lot of you guys sent me emails and Twitter posts about, was everyone safe? Yeah, Maurice and I and Shelley and the dog live in the northwest corner or quadrant of Calgary. It's mostly on high ground, so there wasn't very much damage here at all. Just Maurice's backyard is full of water, but it's not flooding the house or anything else like that. The damage was all downtown and in areas that are directly next to the Bow and Elbow River in downtown Calgary, where a lot of folks were flooded out, evacuations. Maurice was telling me that there are people who still don't have power in that area. So, yeah, we've been absolutely fine. So, Don and all the rest of you guys sent me emails. Thanks very much for emailing me. I appreciate it. I got an email from, where'd it go? Why have these emails just disappeared? Emails I had, Timothy Kane. I don't know where he dug this up from. He said, definition of snood from dictionary.com. The distinctive headband formerly worn by young unmarried women in Scotland and Northern England. No idea, Timothy, why you decided to send this to me, but thank you very much. And I don't think it's a headband. Is it? I thought it was that netting that women with long hair put their hair into, and it was like if you worked at a food preparation place, they made you put your hair in a net. I thought a snood was that kind of netting. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know why Timothy sent this to me either. So, moving on. More emails from you guys. John Trombley. Hey, Sean. Always looking forward to listening to your show. Usually listen on Saturday mornings before starting my weekends. Oh, it's an odd way to start your weekend. I'm kidding, John. Thanks. I was wondering if next time you and Jim are talking iPhone 5S speculation, if I could get both of your thoughts. All right, so I'll save this for next week. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that's what you were talking about. Taking this back. Steve Kane. It's an interesting email about wanting to, he says, Contacts in iOS allows a photo to be attached to a contact. However, it only allows one photo to be attached, and within Contacts, that photo is only shown on the screen at a very small size. I'd like to be able to take several photos, or choose them from the Photos app, associate them with a contact, and browse through the photos at a larger size. Does anyone know of an iOS app that provides a feature something like this? First of all, it's an odd thing to ask. Why would you want to see multiple contact pictures at a large size? I don't understand that. But I was reading this email to Maurice, and he pointed out Bento can do exactly that. The app from FileMaker, FileMaker.com is the website. The only thing is you would basically make Bento your contact database. And you can then add multiple pictures to individual entries in the Bento database. So therefore, if it's contacts, you could have multiple pictures with the contacts. So Steve, you can give that a try. That might be something that would work out better for you. Like I said, on giving away 5 copies of the Cloudspotter app, and like I said, I'm spending my own money. I'm spending my own money to give you guys. This is how cool I think the app is. So the first 5 interesting pictures I get in time for next week's show, we'll give away 5 copies of Cloudspotter. Again, it's got to be Americans. Unfortunately, the iTunes store doesn't allow me to gift things to people outside the U.S. I've got an American iTunes account, and that's why I can do it with my American friends. But you can't do it to other countries, which is really annoying and really stupid. It's like this new company that, and by the way, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Did you like the video? Was the video good for you? Was it a good stream? Was it good quality? I asked these questions, and no ads. You notice there was no ads on this week's show? But I asked about the quality and the stream because I'm paying for this sumbitch now. So this better be good. I ain't putting up a crappy video no more. I ain't putting up a lousy audio no more. I'm paying someone to do this properly. So that's why there's no ads on this week's stream. I'm using a whole different separate company to do the video for the show and do the audio for the show. It's a let me see if I can't grab the name of the company for you guys. But the funny thing is, it's a Canadian company. No, that's not the funny thing. The funny thing is, it's a Canadian company that come on. Canadian company based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, called ScaleEngine.net is where I'm serving this stuff up from. So ScaleEngine is a company that does this kind of streaming services for large and obviously small companies. ScaleEngine.com is the website. So I think Monty, again, showed me about this, and he told me about this company, so I signed up. We did a test. Everything was fine. Email back and forth with the company's tech support, and I noticed that they're from Toronto. And I said, "Oh, that's kind of cool. You guys are in Toronto. I'm in Calgary." He said, "Oh, I wish you hadn't said that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Now we have to charge you tax." I'm like, "What? Now you got to charge me GST?" I'm like, "Oh, come on. Can't I catch a break? I finally got a hosting company, and I'm just trying to be nice to the guy. I'm just trying to be pleasant, and it costs me money." See, this is why I'm not nice to people in Toronto, because being nice to people in Toronto costs me money. So the bandwidth is now being paid for out of my pocket, so I got to make sure that you guys are happy with it. Send me email on air at yourmaclifeshow.com for the video quality, the sound quality, depending on how the bandwidth is being paid by the amount of bandwidth I use. So if we're not using too much bandwidth, I can even up the audio quality, up the video quality, and do more and better things with that. So let me know on air at yourmaclifeshow.com if you even watch the video. There's something. If I know how many people are watching the live video right now, but if you archive folks, don't watch the video, maybe there's no point in spending money on the video. It's not cheap. So maybe if there's not enough folks who are watching it, then maybe there's no point in paying for it. So let me know if you want to see this continue. This will pretty much be an experiment for a month. And at the end of the month, the bill will come due, and I'll see whether or not this is worth it. So if you think it's worth it, let me know. Send me an email to onair at yourmaclifeshow.com. Got a couple of minutes left here. Let's give away some prizes. Thanks to the nice folks at Incipio.com, Joby.com, Lowpro.com, AcmeMade.com, PadandQuillCases.com, and OloClip.com. Because of the cloud spotting thing, let's give away an Olo Clip, either an Olo Clip for the iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, or iPhone 5. One of those, whichever you like, and they've got them in separate colors too. You go to oloclip.com and you can find the different colors they have. So if you hear your name called when I go scrolling through this list, send me an email to Sean at yourmaclifeshow.com. Let me know that you heard your name and give me your address, and go to oloclip.com and pick the Olo Clip that's the one you want, the right color and the right one for your iPhone. So let me just get this list popping up here and get the thing set up. And okay, I'm scrolling through the list now. You folks, someone in the IRC chat room say stop, so I'll know when I can stop pushing these buttons. There's also a significant delay. Wow, Pete Booth, stop. That was a lot less of a delay than I thought. It's going to go out to Nikki Beck. Nikki, congratulations. You are a winner of an Olo Clip. Thanks to the friends at oloclip.com. Again, Nikki, send me an email with your shipping address, with the kind of Olo Clip you want, an iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, or iPhone 5, and the color of Olo Clip you want. And I will get the folks at Olo Clip to send this off to you as soon as they are able. I want to say thanks very much to the nice folks at Wirecast. Wirecast are the guys who make this video possible, along with the folks at ScaleEngine.net. But Wirecast is the software I'm using to run this. Also, big thanks to our good friend Monty Freeman for all the help he gave me this past week, without which his help, I would not have been able to do this. So, Monty, thank you very much. Thanks very much to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop for agreeing finally to be on video with me, and I don't blame him for not necessarily wanting to do it in the past, because, yeah, it's just not, it's two not particularly pretty guys. There's just no other way around it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I also want to say thanks to our guest this night show, Gavin Prater Pinney of the CloudSpotterApp.com website. If you get a chance, go to the website, CloudSpotterApp.com. Before you buy it, send me a picture of a cloud, a pretty cloud, an interesting cloud. And on next week's show, you might win your own copy of the Cloud Spotter app. That's it for tonight's show, folks. Thank you guys very much, as always, for joining me. I appreciate it. And until next week, I've been Sean King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!